Click the like, click the share, and subscribe. All right, let me fix up my camera real quick. Uh, 1 second. I wish I could put this in landscape mode. Let's look at this. All right, so as you see the title, it's delusional and or hubris for a man that's in a leadership position to not look at a woman as a potential threat or enemy, especially in these days. Now, my first talking point is the law and government says women are an enemy or potential threat. Why is that? Women can commit acts of violence like murder, be abusive to children, and rob from citizens. Women have gone to prison. They even have prisons, right? They have prisons. Your local government, like New York City, or federal government, like that governs America, or your local government that governs your state, they have prisons for women that when they violate the law or commit criminal acts that they go to. So your local state and the law recognize that women can be threats or potential dangers. So the same laws that we have that bring punishment towards men when we step out of line and we do something goofy, those same laws apply to women, right? Because New York State, the governor, your mayor, your senator, your local borough president, your whatever local leaders, whatever local politician that's in leadership, right? They cannot say, okay, we can only look at the men as threat, not the women. That would be foolish of their leadership to say that. So they have to pass law that also applies to women too. If they step out of line, they commit acts of violence. They're abusive to children. If a woman is abusive to children, they'll call CPS and take away the child away from that woman, right? If she robs a citizen on the street, she could get locked up or go to jail. When it comes to gangs, women can be part of gangs too, like a Blood or a Crip. And Homeland Security deems gangs as domestic terrorists. Homeland Security doesn't say, okay, these women in these gangs are not threats, it's just the men. No. They view the women as just as much as a threat as the men are in these gangs. And they view them as domestic terrorists too. Look at Mexico with the cartels, right? You have female cartels that murder and commit acts of violence and do terroristic things, right? So we recognize, the law recognizes women can be threats or potential enemies. And it's foolish, and it's very foolish of the politicians like your mayor, your governor, your senator, your police commissioner who are in leadership positions to view women as non-threat or non-dangerous, right? Even if you take it back into the day, you go back to feudal Japan, you go back to the Greeks, you go back to the Romans, women were assassins and spies, right? Were able to be, women were able to assassins and spies, right? And they were in, if this female, like I was watching what you call Shogun, I think it was a Shogun FC or whatever, you had women in there that were spies. And when they were caught, they were killed or eliminated, right? So you have women that back into the Greeks days and the days of the Roman Empire, in the day, look at Julius Caesar and Cleopatra. That's a perfect example. And Cleopatra didn't use force to seduce Julius Caesar or take over that kingdom. She used her femininity, her seductiveness to take over that. which could be very dangerous because that's how a snake operates. Look at a snake and a cat. A snake and a cat, they're very feminine in nature. So when a snake, it moves in its feminine nature, right? It's very quiet and it's lethal when it strikes, right? That's how women can operate. They're very, even look at a Venus flytrap, right? A Venus flytrap is very appealing to the fly or the bird, but as soon as you get too close to that Venus flytrap, it snaps down and bites you and eats you. So women can be predators too. It's just that they go about it in a different way, but they can be very lethal and dangerous. That's why you have laws in the books, laws in the days of the Roman Empire and of those times too, that if the women step out of line and she did something goofy, there was a punishment for that. Look at your Bible. God didn't just punish Adam, he punished Eve too. Because Eve tricked Adam to eat the apple. Even God recognizes women can be a potential threat or danger, right? Your Bible even warns men about certain type of women you shouldn't deal with, right? So even your Christianity and your religions warn you of bad women or dangerous women or Jezebelic-like women. Look at Paradise Lost with Lilith, right? So it's foolish for me now, or men, into this day and age, to not view women as a potential threat or enemy. Now, am I saying you to view all of them like that? No, I'll never speak in all. A lot of times, the way you men speak that are caping and symbol for women, you speak like you're women. Because I speak it in general, not specific or subjective. It's objective or in general. I'm only saying this because as a man, you cannot go back to the ways of old before manosphere where you viewed women as these perfect things, perfect people. They could do no wrong. That's why society is the way it is right now. This is why a woman could, what you call, have sexual relations with an underage child, and she'll get a lesser sentence than a man if he did it. Because clearly women are a problem, or could be a potential big problem. But because a lot of you men operate off of, that's just how women are, or the women are not part of the game, or don't pay attention to women. No, you leave women up unchecked. You leave women who's a fully functional, intelligent being who can think for herself, move off her own free will, right? Has a mind of her own. If you leave women unchecked, they're going to do what they want to do and become destructive. And as a man, as long as women are part of the house or part of your country or part of your community or your society, you have to lead them too and hold them accountable too. Or else, what is the purpose of them being part of your community? So if your government knows this, if God in your Bible knows this, how come you, a mortal man, don't know this or won't realize this? And it seems to me like the guys on the internet, now that men, especially black men, have removed that, black woman is godship and women are perfect this and perfect that, it's like you men want to lead them back into BS, or you want to lead them back into simphood. Right? If women were not a problem or could not be a potential threat, why do you blame the man for picking the wrong chick if he gets into a relationship with a chick that takes his life or robs him? You'll say that's his fault because he chose the wrong chick. So right there, that lets you know that there's something wrong with women, or there could be a potential threat. All right. Next talking point. I have to write these down. When it comes to dating and mating, right? This is why women in a relationship can put their hands on a man and based on how she's feeling and get away with it. One, because men are trained and programmed not to hit women. But, all right, so I wrote this down, my bad. So this is why when in a relationship, right, a woman can put her hands on a man based upon what she feels like, right, and get away with it. because men are trained not to hit a woman no matter what she does. No matter how she responds to him, no matter how violent she is, no matter how destructive she is, no matter if she's about to take his life, men are trained and programmed not to hit her back. Even though she is performing an act of violence or being a massive threat to him right at that moment, based upon how she feels. Where women have what women have done at the moment, so at that moment, once a woman now puts her hands on you or gonna cock her fist back and hit you or pick up a weapon to hit you, she became a threat because she's using an act of violence towards you, especially in a relationship or on a date. You know, you watch some old shows where the chick picks up the glass and throws water in your face. She became a threat right there. If that was another grown ass man, you could be able to respond back in violence. But the moment she picked up water in a glass and threw it in your face because she disagreed with something that went on a date or whatever you said gives that woman no right to respond to you with a violence. Either she leaves you alone, she does either leaves you alone or go away. Or walk off the table. Right? And when you guys come up here and say, women respond to men or women follow men, it's not that surface level. So I know a lot of y'all are bird brains and not intelligent. Or you don't really know the game like you say you know it. Right? Because a woman, she's going to choose how to respond to that man based upon who she is first before she responds to you. Right? So she's a bad chick that like to hit dudes. No matter what you say or do, she's going to respond to you that way. If she's a chick that has respect for herself, she respects men. If no matter what you say, she's going to respond to you by this either walking away from you or not putting your hands on you. But because y'all don't want to view women as a potential threat or enemy, and y'all agree to that ideology, the rest of society agrees to it. So now, if you're in a relationship now or on a date with a woman, and she feels because you said something she didn't like that she's going to put her hands on you, she's going to get away with that. And women use that to their advantage because you dudes accept it. Right there, she became a threat. I know you guys are going to say, well, if she does that, just break up with her or leave her alone. Well, guess what? Cool. You broke up with her. You left her alone. But she's going to keep responding that way. The problem's not going to go away because she's not being held accountable or responsible for what she's doing. Okay. Typically in these situations where you have when a woman puts her hands on a man's face and the man calls the police, when the police come, they're going to most likely arrest that man and not the woman, even though the woman did something violent towards that man. In a lot of situations, the man has to leave that house, live at a hotel, and she gets to stay at the house even though she violated him and put her hands on him. In certain jurisdictions, that's how the police operate, right? All because of the mindset that we must view women as these perfect people and not a potential enemy or threat. Now, I'm not saying all women are that way. I'm speaking in general. So now when I hear you simps or you dudes come up and say, not all, you're talking like the women now, because I didn't say all. It's very foolish for you to walk around in life, in dating or relationships, and think, this woman cannot be a potential threat or enemy to you. How many men of the Bible have fallen because a woman was a threat to him? How many men in real life have we seen that? I'm from Brooklyn, New York, from the hood, my nigga, right? How many street niggas we seen lose their lives? How many men lost their lives in these streets because a chick lied or she was a threat? One of the rules to dating and mating is that do not pillow talk, because you might say something to that chick that she's going to use against you. So if there's some, my bad, it's springtime now, so you're going to hear all of that in the background. If in dating and mating, one of the rules is not to pillow talk. Another rule is that after not to allow a chick to sleep over in your house. If these are women you don't know if she hasn't proven herself, you're not to pillow talk or share private information with her. You're not to allow her to sleep over your house. Right? Why is that? Because in the past, or men who don't follow those rules right there, right? If you say something or pillow talk to this chick, she can use that or weaponize that against you or spy on you. If you allow a chick you don't know to sleep over your house that you just met or you don't know or you just smashing, she could potentially take your life. She could do some type of harm from you. She could rob you. She could set you up. Street niggas know this, right? What does that mean? That means that women can be a potential threat. If there cannot be a potential threat, you wouldn't need these rules to govern yourself so you don't pick the wrong chick. I'm going to say that again. If women were not a potential threat, or if women were not a problem or potential enemy, you would not need rules to govern yourself as a man so you don't engage with or pick the wrong woman. So if I could pick the wrong woman, that means that there are women out there that could be potential threats or enemies. We see this every day. So I don't know why there are men on YouTube who are pushing the agenda that a woman cannot be a potential threat or enemy to a man. That's a very hubris, delusional position to put yourself in. That the government don't put themselves in, but they want you to put yourself in. Right at the point now that men are removing that simp chip, those rose-colored glasses that look at women as this perfect thing, they want y'all to remove that from you. No, I mean, once you remove that, they want to put it back into you and say there's nothing wrong with women because women are responding to men. Nah, or I have to ask the question. Just like you would ask a street dude, who's your OG? Well, you have to ask these women, what influences are you following? Who told you that? What man are you listening to? Because I would say that women respond to other women. Women follow their own influences. Women can think for themselves. They got free will. If she got free will, she has intelligence to think for herself. Okay. Maybe the reason why I can think like this and y'all dudes can't is because the box has blinded you from the truth. A pussy has blinded you from what's reality, to what's really going on. And the reason why you want the men to go back to sleep is so that the box can keep flowing. And I noticed that a lot of you cats on the internet that are players, pimps, and max, you poisoned the dating market. You tainted the dating market. And now you want to blame the rest of the men for what you did to the market. You influenced these women to be hoes and 304s. Since y'all logic is always a man's fault. If it's always a man's fault, then it's always your fault because you led these women to 304ism, hookup culture, right? And you tainted the market for the rest of us dudes. Now the rest of us dudes want to be traditional and be righteous. And now we have to deal with the environment that you let it into. You telling that something's wrong with us. You know what I noticed? There are men and women, right, that have participated in the alternative lifestyle, the progressive lifestyles, the sex culture, the swinger lifestyles, all those kind of lifestyles. They have participated into that pool, right? And now they're telling regular people, now they want to date regular people. And now they're trying to tell regular people that there's something delusional about us because we don't agree with their lifestyle. Maybe there's something delusional about you. That's why we don't agree with your lifestyle. And they get to come online and push their agenda and tell everybody they're insecure because we don't want to follow them, especially with the dudes. And again, that is not masculinity. Masculinity is not to sit there and shame another nigga's house, another man's house, because they don't believe or want to operate how you want to operate. I call that man insecure because he don't want to operate like how you want to operate. Or get mad because there are men on YouTube saying or complaining about women that are actually legit in the wrong or doing something wrong in the house, right? And because he doesn't want to date a single mother, he don't want to date a Western modern women. He don't want to wife up these type of chicks. He don't want to wife up that. You have an issue with him saying having a standard that he don't want to deal with these type of women, and he's telling the other men not to deal with these type of women. But you get to come on the internet and tell men that they should deal with 304s and raggedy chicks. But you get to push your agenda, but get mad at other dudes for pushing their agenda. That's hypocritical. A lot of y'all dudes get on YouTube and you speak like the women you claim not to be equal to. But anyway, the fact that we can't look at men as a victim in the context of a woman when dealing with women, that he cannot be a victim to a woman because he's in a leadership position, lets me know how delusional the rest of society is, and a lot of you men that speak like that. You see women taking the lives of men every day. And last time I checked, a man is not a machine and not a robot. He's a human being. Yeah, he's a leader. Yeah, he's a man. Yeah, he must be responsible, accountable. But in the game, things happen. In the game, things happen. And a woman can line you up and take you by blindside. And to say that a woman, you cannot be a victim to a woman means that you're perfect. And no man is perfect. See what I'm saying? And that's kind of thinking is what put men into a delusional hubris and makes the rest of society view women as just innocent people when they're not these innocent people. But that's what you do is agree with. This is why in dating, my next talking point, this is why in dating, men pick bad women and choose wrong. Because women are not believed to be a threat or potential enemies. How many stories where a man got set up by a woman, which goes back to how can you not look at a man as a victim or a woman victimizing a man when we have instances where women have set men up and he did everything right. There are a lot of men out there that are doing everything right, and still a woman sets him up to get robbed or his life get taken. Right? Men have even lost their lives. This is why you need dating coaches to give game or life experience to avoid women who have red flags. So the fact that a woman can have a red flag means she could be a potential threat or danger to you. Right? This is why you have ID Network and all these other shows on the internet that showcase women taking the lives of men. Right there. Right? And to be added, right? To defend the game is life experience, knowledge, wisdom, and information. And you're taking what you know. Let me wait till this plane pass. In 1 second. Okay, so what game is again? Game is life experience. Taking the wisdom, knowledge, and information to apply it to your life to help you navigate in the game to help you win. Whatever you're trying to win, right? Me cutting on this camera, it took me game because I needed the knowledge and wisdom to upload this camera, create a thumbnail, to be able to speak. That's what mouthpiece is to, is communication, basically, right? To be able to speak to this camera and speak to you guys, my game, or what I know, or how I see things. And you don't have to agree with me. Just don't disrespect me. Anyway, right? That's why a woman with bad intentions even date, right? So this is why women with bad intentions, or just bad women, period, even date. This is why women who intend to run game on a guy, look for a sucker, look for a trick, look for a simp to play games with, can even date, because we don't view them as a potential threat or enemy, or they could be a potential danger to you as a man. And they use these women that move like that, use that to their advantage, right? Yeah, society doesn't look at them, or society as far as the dating game is concerned, doesn't look at them as potential enemy or the ops. For example, black men or the black community during the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, right? When black men were fighting a war against the establishment or against the powers that be, right? And what black women decided to do was listen to white women, listen to white America, listen to feminism, and rebel against that man and his house, and create a whole bunch of media like The Color Purple, a lot of movies that disparage black men and how ridiculous we were. Because at the time, Hollywood, who was ran by a certain group of people, uh, was in the business of breaking the black man's image, tearing down his image. And our black women joined into that. At that moment, she became the ops or the enemy or threat to the black man's leadership or the black man's house. Why he was fighting a war at that time? But because black men did not view his black woman as that enemy or potential threat to him, that happened. Black men did not think that the attack was coming from his woman, or he didn't look at it as, okay, this is an attack against me. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So this is why a lot of black men in the black community picked bad women, picked the wrong women, allowed women to be disrespectful in their house, allow women to talk the way they talk, allow women to be violent, because it was put in a program into black men's brain that black woman is God, that black woman can do no wrong, and when she's doing something wrong, it's your fault. Right? This is why black men kept picking these bad women to be in relationships with, because we had, and I'm gonna say it, the Nation of Islam talking about the standard of a society doesn't raise no higher than his woman. All that goofiness you heard from the Nation of Islam and the pro-blacks, program into black men's brain that black women can do no wrong and she's perfect. Right? So right. So I want to address the issue about when they say men picked the wrong chick or men chose the wrong woman. Yes, that is true. That is a true statement. But let's look at it deeper than that, right? If all you have to pick from at the food market is pork, pork, and pork, and you know that pork is bad for you, but you're hungry, and that's all you got to pick from, what else are you going to pick besides the bad pork that's bad for you? So that if all that's in the market is bad women, and the reason why there's bad women in the market is because we don't hold them accountable, and we don't look at them as threats or potential problems or dangerous to even hold them accountable in the first place. So guess what? Because you don't hold them accountable, there's always going to be bad women for you to choose from. Right? Always going to be bad women for you to choose from. And second, she has to choose you too. So if you're a good, honest dude, right, and she's supposed to choose you, she's supposed to be good and honest too if she chose you. Right? Because when a woman chooses a man's leadership now, she's agreeing to abide by that man's rules and regulations. So if he's a good, honest dude, why is she not a good, honest woman? Why does she allow herself to be chosen knowing that she didn't qualify? Because again, she got to choose you too. She got to choose you. She got to keep choosing you after she chose you the first time, the second time. The first time was when you approached her and she gave her your number. The second time is when she chose to go on that date with you and you told her who you were. Then she has to keep choosing you on a date till you get into a relationship or become girlfriend and boyfriend. Then she has to choose to be with you until she become your husband or your wife. So she has to do a lot of choosing of you. So while she was choosing, she knew who she was and she knew who you were. And you didn't choose her to do something bad to you. You chose her based upon how she presented herself and kept presenting herself. The fact that you can pick a bad woman means that there are bad women out there to pick from. This is why the men have checked out. Because you have good, honest men dealing with a bad environment, with bad women or toxic women in a bad environment. And now it's either those men keep picking the bad environment or the bad women. And then if they pick what's in the environment, you blame the men. And again, the women can choose not to follow those type of dudes. And if majority of the field is like that, why would good men, good honest men, stay there and keep dealing with evil, bad women? Just check out or go find solutions elsewhere. And you can't get mad at them. Just because you guys are cool with picking poison and eating the poison don't mean I gotta pick it. What's good for you ain't good for me. As long as you keep not holding the women accountable and the environment accountable, they're gonna keep being toxic. Again, as long as the life starts with me and my sperm, and I get a chick pregnant and she could possibly produce a woman or a daughter, then guess what? The women are my responsibility to lead and guide and correct and check and hold accountable. As long as she's going to be in my house benefiting from masculinity, she's going to be checked and held accountable and responsible. That's the most goofiest shit I ever heard you do say anything. Speak on this internet about. And second, if you like chicks with high body counts, you fucking date them. But don't tell me I'm insecure because I don't want to deal with them. Or tell me I'm insecure because I want to influence women to be good and holy. If you can influence women to be hoes and be 304s, I can influence women to be good women. I can mold or shape the environment how I want it to look. That's like you shape the environment to be what it is today. I can shape it to look good and holy. So it's again, the hypocrisy with you niggas in these spaces. Anyway, I even have a quote. A man cannot lead a rebellious army. That man can have the best of everything for an army to follow, but that army can still rebel if wanted to. Right? In other words, a man cannot lead a rebellious woman. Your Bible tell you that. Eve rebelled against Adam and God. And remember, when Adam and Eve was in the garden, they were immortal. Go read the lost books of Eden. Adam and Eve were immortal. They were perfect. They had everything. God had given them everything. They didn't know pain. They didn't know fear. They didn't know death. But Eve still chose to eat the apple and listen to the serpent that provided her nothing. Remember, God had provided Adam and Eve with everything in that garden. They didn't know fear. They didn't know death. They didn't know pain. They were immortal. They were perfect human beings. And Eve listened to a serpent that provided her nothing. That serpent didn't give her life. He didn't create her. Serpent didn't provide Eve with food and water. Oh, hold on, they didn't even have to remember. They didn't have to eat. So the serpent did not give Eve immortality, but she still chose to listen to the serpent and eat the apple. So if a woman can rebel against Adam and God, who the fuck is you and I to think we can control women in some way? Insane. If a woman were not a threat or an enemy, then a man would not choose the wrong woman. He would choose right every time. So, if a woman cannot be a potential threat, a danger to a man, then he would never choose the wrong woman at all. He'd always choose right. Think about that. That's why in the dating game, there are rules that men must follow. And if any broken, can be fatal to a man. Like one is to not pillow talk, which is to tell your business to a woman you don't know. I explained that earlier. Another rule is don't allow women to sleep over your house. I explained that earlier too. A woman can, if you let a chick you don't know sleep in your house or sleep over your crib, A, she could think of that as y'all moving too fast. B, she could take that as she can set you up or she could get too close to you. And that could be very bad. Like there was this chick years back that she was a word I can't say, a 304 sex worker, right? And the guy let her sleep over her over. I think they were at a motel or something. And she took the gun and she killed him with it. Took his gun and shot him with it. And you know what happened? She got arrested and was sent to prison. So the you dudes on the internet might say that was a man's fault and that she wasn't a potential enemy or threat, but the law didn't view her as a non-threat or non-enemy. So I don't. That's what I don't get about you dudes on the internet. Well, a lot of men on YouTube. Oh, so this is what me talking to you dudes. A lot of men on YouTube love box, and if you hold women accountable, those men fear the flow of box or puss stops for them. That's why men on YouTube like to gaslight the men as if women aren't the problem, because part of leadership is to hold your community accountable, which includes women. As long as women are part of the community or business or household, the man is the boss or the king. He has to check, critique, and hold accountable what's in his house. So let me say that again, right? As long as I'm the man or the head of my community or the boss or the king of my castle, and as long as the women are part of my castle, my kingdom, or my community, I'm supposed to hold them accountable. And I think that's what a lot of you dudes want. I think you dudes don't want the women to be held accountable, and you want the men to keep going back to sleep so you could do your madness behind the scenes and keep having access to women and creating more problems, right? And then blame the men who didn't pay attention because you told them not to pay attention. You gaslit them not to pay attention and say it's their fault. As long as women are benefiting from my masculinity or society's masculinity, they're gonna be held accountable. So if you dudes don't want to do it and you're afraid to lose box, don't do it. But don't push your bullshit on me. Cool. As I said earlier, as long as a woman has free will, it could potentially be a threat or a problem to a society. If left unchecked, if left unchecked, they're gonna become a problem. So you must hold women accountable or responsible as long as they have free will, intelligence. They can do what they want to do. They have to be responsible and be held in check. Your Ten Commandments, your Constitution doesn't say that these laws only apply to men. It says that these laws applies to every human. Okay. Yo, another thing I got to speak on YouTube, right? If a man says that, man, I don't like the woman I deal with and I prefer to be alone and by myself because this woman is going to cause me problems or whatever, you have men on YouTube that use female manipulation tactics and say, what, you gay? You must want to be gay. But they'll accept LGBT, they'll accept other men's lifestyles. But because I don't want to be in a relationship with a woman or a bad chick or any type of woman, I'm gay. Or something is wrong with my sexuality. That's what women do. And that's my problem with you men in these spaces. Y'all speak and talk like the women you say you're not equal to. But you use their tactics to manipulate men or talk at other men's masculinity. This is what I don't get. And I think I'm the only one that see and hear it. But whatever. Um, just because you hold men accountable and men are holding themselves accountable. Doesn't mean you can't hold women accountable or identify the woman as the problem. That's illogical, right? In fact, because I hold myself accountable, I can hold women accountable. And you can identify and look at women as a human being that could possibly be a danger to the society as a problem, right? If women can have the power to give birth to a child or take away that child's life, that could be a potential threat to the next generation of children or the population growth, right? If women can choose to be like Sexy Red and influence women to be hoes and 304s or like an Ice Spice, that's a problem because they're influencing the next generation of children. That is a problem. Maybe you guys are just afraid to lead women. Maybe there's something wrong with your sexuality. Maybe you're the one that's gay. Maybe y'all are sus and sassy. Because y'all would rather sit on the internet and critique men all day and worry about what other men doing in his house all day, but you're afraid to check and critique the women. See, I love women. That's why I'm critiquing and checking them because I don't like seeing what they're doing. And they're causing problems. So because I love them like God loves man, I'm going to critique them, hold them accountable, and check them. But maybe you dudes love men or other men because you can sit online and critique men all day and say nothing to the women. See, men aren't supposed to check other men. Oh, well, let me pull that back. A man can check a man if he's violating the rules such as thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not kill, or whatsoever. But when it comes to if he's obeying the laws or whatever and he's operating within that, with his own masculinity, he's not bothering people. You don't tell another grown ass man how to operate in his house. You know what I'm saying? Or else you can use a lesson, that person as a lesson. Listen, this is how that man made the mistake. This is what you don't want to do. I understand that because you're speaking from objectively. But to sit on the internet now and complain about other men because he complaining about women or he holding women accountable, which is how he's supposed to lead and do. I gotta look at your masculinity. Maybe you're the one that's gay or something wrong with your sexual preference. But anyway.
Hello, Moto.
Anyway, folks, this is Kish, Yardie Gaming Nation. Thanks for those of you who checked in and clicked the live or said something in the chat. Click the like, click the subscribe, click the share. My name is Kish, Yardie Gaming Nation, and I'm out.